Hello folks, so today we're going to talk about car finance. More importantly, we're going to talk about exiting car finance. We're going to look at how you can get out of PCP, HP or a lease earlier than you originally agreed to and what penalties might come with that. This is an article that I've actually written on my website, on my blog. You can get to that by going notaguru.co.uk/blog. Essentially, we're looking at each type of finance agreement and how you can get out of it early if you need to or want to, and how much that's likely to cost you. The key point here, folks, is before you get into a car finance agreement, read it and understand it from the off and know your cancellation rights and any charges that might go along with that. People get very excited by a nice shiny new car and a car salesperson in front of them that's trained in getting them to sign on that line, and sometimes the paperwork comes out and they'll just glance at it, sign it, and that's the end of that. You need to read it and you need to understand it, okay? The other thing I have to stress is that I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not a car finance expert. This is just my opinion. This is here for your entertainment. You might find it useful, it might get you thinking in the right way, but please don't take this as qualified financial advice because it's not. So you might want to cancel your agreement early due to a change in personal circumstances. Maybe you've lost your job, maybe there's a health issue, maybe you just fancy a different car. And although you can get out of your car finance agreement early, they are designed to run for the full term that you agreed when you signed up to it. So don't expect to do it with impunity. So let's look at how a PCP differs to hire purchase to a lease. Hire purchase is quite a simple finance agreement. You pay a deposit on a car, the balance of that car goes to a finance company, they charge you interest on it, and over 2, 3 or 4 years normally, you pay monthly payments to pay off that debt plus the interest that's owed to them. At the end of that, you own the car. With a lease, you usually pay a small upfront payment and then you pay your monthly payments, and at the end of it, you give the car back. PCP's a little bit more complex. In the video up there, we looked at the CarWow car finance calculator, and it's actually wrong the way it works out in PCP. With PCP, say a car's 20 grand, you pay a £5,000 deposit. The car finance company then finances the other 15 grand. Now you might be paying your monthly payments, 200 quid a month or something, and then at the end of your 2, 3 or 4 years of monthly payments, you've got that final balloon payment. That might be £8,000, £9,000. Well, until you've paid that final balloon payment, the car belongs to the finance company, but you've been paying interest on the whole amount. That means once you take the car away, you owe 15 grand to the finance company plus interest and any fees they've got. Now this is your debt, and that car doesn't become yours until that debt is fully repaid. Now, as 80% of the people watching this video won't be subscribed, please consider doing so, and please give the video a thumbs up and leave a comment. YouTube likes to see people interacting, so please leave a comment. So settling an HP deal early is usually quite simple. Generally, if you've paid back 50% of the payments, you can just hand the car back. That's the end of that. You don't get any kind of refund. You don't benefit from any value in the car, but you can just give it back. Say you're only 15 months into a 36-month agreement, so you're not quite yet up to the 50% mark, which would be 18 months. You might have to pay back those other 3 months before you give the car back. With a lease, early termination fees can vary massively from deal to deal, and you really need to look at the agreement up front. Generally, once you've paid back 50% of the payments, you can get out of it for 50% of the remaining payments. So that can be quite a lot of money. If you're worried about redundancy, by the way, before you enter into a lease, there are some companies out there on Lease Loco. I think you see Vanarama deals coming up. And at the moment, they're giving free redundancy cover with every lease, which is a great shout, really. Gives you a little bit of peace of mind. But to get out of a lease early can cost you a lot of money, just like it can with a PCP. Let's have a look at that. So with a PCP, you can generally end it early as long as you've paid back 50% of the total debt. And that total debt includes any interest, any fees, and of course the final balloon payment, which we might have forgotten about with this. So with most PCP deals, it's unlikely you're actually going to hit the 50% mark during your initial payment period. So think very carefully about it. One thing you often get with a PCP, one of the reasons that car dealerships love to sell them, is that because if ever they need to sell a car, they can get you on the phone and offer you a deal to basically buy you out of your existing deal, or port it across to another car and just keep you in that constant cycle with their particular brand. People have done quite well coming out of PCPs in the last 12 to 18 months. But prior to that, you know, a lot of people could find themselves in negative equity if they wanted to get out early. If you're having trouble making payments on your car finance, I strongly suggest you check out the FCA website, Financial Conduct Authority, who have said that their providers, as in the lenders, need to treat their customers fairly. So if you tell a finance company before you miss a payment that you're going to struggle, so say you lose your job tomorrow and you're thinking, oh God, how am I going to pay the car finance next month? Get on the phone to the finance provider straight away, because they need to help you. They need to work with you. And they may do that by reducing your payments but spreading them out over a longer time. They might offer you a little payment holiday, so don't pay us anything for the next 3 months. You'll have to pay a bit of extra interest at the end or something like that. And they might even decide to either suspend interest charges or waive them in extreme circumstances. There are a range of things, but they need to be helping you. They shouldn't just be pressuring you into making payments if you've been upfront and told them, okay? If you already start missing payments, you're not in such a strong position. So if you ever think you're going to have trouble making your car payment, get in touch with the lender and tell them the situation. Just be upfront and honest. The FCA says they need to work with you on that. So should you end car finance early, or should you always let it run to the end? Well, these things can be ended early, but as I said at the start, they do cost you money to end early. Almost all of them will cost you something. Even the HP, where you just hand the car back, possibly you've got a fair bit of value tied up in that car. You might have paid a big deposit on it. The remaining payments might be a lot less than the actual current value of the car. So handing it back early, theoretically, might still cost you quite a lot of money in the wider scheme of things. And for PCP or PCH for car lease, much like HP, these things are designed to run for the agreement that you signed up to at the start. And if you want to end it early, although you should have the option to do so, it is going to cost you money generally. I hope that answers a few questions for you folks. It's something that comes up from time to time, and especially on the back of the last couple of videos. So I thought some of you might find this useful. Please go and check out the blog post as well. Not many people visit the blog, but I do try and post a few things on here. Not as many as I should perhaps, but do check that out. There's also my support page where you can go and you've got my link to VCheck, you've got the merch store. And of course you can buy me a coffee, which is always massively appreciated. Please like the video and please subscribe. Thanks ever so much for watching.